Hello, I'm Emma, founder of A to Z Animal Care, a dog groomers in Betherston in Kent, and today I want to talk to you about fleas, how they become a problem, what you can do about it, and what products there are out there to resolve the problem. I am a veterinary nurse. I'm also an SQP, which stands for Suitably Qualified Person, but it means that I'm allowed to advise you on animal medicines. It means that we're registered and licensed to sell different treatments for fleas, and we're in a great place to give you lots of information and help you solve any problems.
Brilliant, thanks Emma. So if we start off with the first question, which would be, how would I know if my pet had fleas?
Usually the first sign and symptom that you'd see is that your pet would be scratching. Commonly they tend to sit and use a back foot to give themselves a good scratch behind the ear. The other thing that you might see is small, gritty, grainy particles that look a little bit like earth in their coat, and that is flea dirt. That is the poo of the flea that's consumed your pet's blood, because that's what they eat, and then you find the dirt in the coat. If you comb them or brush them, have a little look at your hand and have a little look between the layers of the hair. Brown material generally means that your pet has fleas.
Would you actually see the flea on the pet?
Yes, you could see the flea as well. They're somewhere between 3 and 4 millimetres long, small brown body, moving really quickly through the coat. They don't like light very much, so as you part the coat to have a look, they will often scatter. They can jump, but it's more common for them to just wiggle their way through the coat away from the light.
So where would my pet get the fleas from?
Cat fleas are really, really common. Most dogs, in fact, have cat fleas, so any contact with cats, whether that's in your garden, your pets, your next door neighbours, also wildlife, they can pick them up from foxes and badgers and hedgehogs and any critters that enter the garden, but it is mostly cats, and most dogs do have cat fleas.
So us having a cat and dogs in the house, most likely to get fleas?
Yeah, it's always essential to treat all the pets in the household. Concentrate on the cats because they are the ones that get the worst infestations and need the most regular treatment, but always treat everybody.
Okay. And if my pet's got fleas, how do they affect my dog's or my cat's health and well-being?
If you're healthy, young, fit animal with no other medical conditions picks up the odd flea, it really isn't a lot to worry about. It is much more important for very young animals and very old animals and those that are poorly. Heavy flea infestations in cats, kittens and puppies can leave them severely anemic, and they can actually die if they're already quite unwell and underweight, and then they lose a significant amount of blood. They can die. It's also really uncomfortable. It's possible for them to be allergic to the fleas. They may end up with sores on their body, broken hair where they've chewed themselves, and just general discomfort and not feeling as well as they could.
Okay, so we've found some fleas on our dog or cat. How should we go about treating them?
This bit is quite vital. A lot of people concentrate really heavily on simply applying a spot-on treatment. And whilst that is vital, you also need to be aware that an awful lot of the fleas that you find in your home will in fact be in the environment rather than being on the pet. Studies have shown that only 5%, so a really small amount of the fleas, are actually on your pet, and the rest are in the environment, either as eggs, larvae or pupae. So that's the 4 stages of the life cycle of the flea. They start as an adult flea. The adult flea then lays eggs, and each female can lay 50 a day. Those eggs then hatch out into larvae, which grow and develop in your house over a period of about 3 weeks. They then turn into pupae, so similar to how a caterpillar would turn into a butterfly. They turn into pupae, and then those become the adults, and the cycle continues. It goes round and round and round. Each adult can lay about 600 eggs in their lifetime. and every single one of those will hatch and become a new flea. So it really is important that you choose a product that not only kills the fleas on your pet, that 5% of the problem, but a product or a separate product that also treats the house, the environment. That bit is really essential.
Okay, so what products should we be using?
There are a huge number of flea products out there, and it is quite a confusing marketplace. The most important thing to do is treat your pet regularly with a good product that you either get from an SQP, from a vet, or a licensed online pharmacy, that you use it regularly, that you check it includes an ingredient for the environment, or that you use a separate environment spray. But I cannot stress enough, the continuing usage of the monthly spot on product will solve the problem for you as long as you keep going.
So what can we use for our houses?
There are lots of environmental sprays available. They must only be used in the environment and always follow the instructions on the tin. But some examples for you that we can put up on a slide would be Indirex spray, Stay Kill, or Frontline Home Guard. Again, they're not the only ones, but those are the ones that we stock, and those are the ones that we would recommend.
Okay, can fleas actually bite us?
Yes, they can. Yes, most definitely. And one of the things that people will notice if their pet has fleas is small red raised bumps, generally around the ankles, but it can be on the legs and other parts of the body as well. Not a big problem in themselves. We're lucky in this country that there isn't any serious diseases that can be transferred by flea bites anymore, but they are irritating and not very nice. So
using those indoor sprays will also help prevent us from being bitten by them.
Absolutely. They will wipe out a really big part of the life cycle of the flea. They will get rid of the eggs, they will get rid of the larvae, they will kill them. They aren't able to get through the outer shell of the pupa. So the pupa that exist already have to hatch out as adults and then hop on your pet and be killed by the flea treatment that's on your pet. This is sometimes why you get a lag between applying a flea treatment and finding new fleas. These guys are not killed by anything in that state. Once they become an adult flea and hop onto the pet, then the flea treatment will kill them.
Okay, thank you. So what are you seeing as the common mistakes people make when treating their pets for fleas?
The most common one is not applying the product frequently enough. If it says apply it once a month, it really does have to be done once a month, especially if your pet is allergic. Time flies, time gets away from us, but putting it in the calendar as a once a month alert really is essential. There was a time where cold winters would kill off a lot of fleas, but unfortunately these days, with the winters being a bit milder and the fact that we all have central heating on all the time, fleas can and do breed all year round. So please do use your products regularly and keep up with it even through the winter. Right, so the next part is to introduce you once again to Chip, who is helping us out. I'm going to show you how to check if your pet has fleas, and then how to apply a flea treatment of the spot-on variety. There are some sprays and there are some collars available, but today we're going to cover the most common method, which is the spot-on variety. So to check and see whether your pet has fleas, one method that you can use is to push the hair back the wrong way and look right down next to the skin to see whether there's any evidence of actual fleas or whether there's any flea dirt.
So that's where you'd find the actual dirt, right next to the skin?
Yes, absolutely. You can also use a comb to help you with this, to push the hair back the wrong way and have a look at the skin. Or you can use the comb to go through the coat and then have a little look at what comes out and see if there's any grey, dark brown flea dirt material stuck in the tines of your comb. If your pet has fleas, you're going to treat them. If your pet doesn't have fleas, you're still going to treat them. We're going to do this once a month as a regular thing, regardless of not whether they've got fleas. And once you've done the application process for 3 or 4 months, it should be rare to find a flea. And if you do, it's likely to be one that's hopped on from outside rather than one that's hopped on from your home environment. So we've got the flea product here. It's important to make sure that it is the right size and strength for your pet. So this one today I'm using is Flea Screen Combo. It's designed for dogs between 2 and 10 kilos. You just want to make sure that it's the right size for your pet and also that it's in date, just to make sure it's as effective as it can be. So these ones come individually packaged, which is quite convenient. So we'll just tear open the package to get to the pipette. And then we need to take the lid off, turn it over to open the pipette. Just makes a little hole in the top of the tube, like that. And then we'll just turn Chip round to face you. And this bit is quite important. It does need to hit the skin. Now Chip, it's a good lad, good boy. It does need to hit the skin, not the fur. So don't just drop it on from here, because it will all run off and won't be effective. Part the hair on the back of the neck till you can definitely see the skin, and then apply the contents to the back of the neck. It's not toxic, and it doesn't matter if they do lick it. It tastes dreadful, so they would rather not, but it is much more effective if you put it somewhere that they can't get to it. And if there's a lot in the tube and you want to spread it out, as you saw me do there, just do it over 2 or 3 spots. And that's it.
And does it leave any marks on the...
Occasionally it can leave a little bit of a white powdery residue for a day or 2, although not always. But it does tend to look a little bit oily and a little bit greasy for a couple of days. That's just the carrier that the active ingredient is in. I would recommend that you leave that to dry and don't touch it for about 24 hours. All right, so I think that's us all done for today. Fleas, treatments, infestations, it's a massive topic and I'm sure you will have questions. I will do my very best to answer them for you, but if you have got any questions, just send them through in the comments. Bear in mind there's lots of places you can get these products. You might be getting them from your vets, you might be getting them online, you might be getting them from us. As long as you've chosen a reputable place to buy them, they are all as good as each other. Make sure that they do what you want them to do. As long as they're effective against fleas and you use them regularly, you should get on top of the problem. But if you've got any other questions, then just fire away. Thanks very much for your time and we'll see you soon.